So you want to be a landlord. In this video, I put together a curation of 8 different starting topics that I feel will be a great resource for those looking to buy their first rental property in the near future. I put the topics in the description below the video so you can follow along, and let's go through them real quick before we go through each one. First topic is talking about the different types of rental properties available across the country. The second is understanding the basics of cash flow. The third is property maintenance. How are you gonna handle that? Next is general property expenses. The next is, are you gonna manage the property by yourself or hire a property manager? Sixth is how you're gonna build a team around you as you get this process going. Seventh is, should I have an LLC in place before I even consider a rental property? And then last, but really importantly, how all of this can have an impact on your mental health. Okay, different types of rental properties, and each one has a varying level of cost and responsibility associated with it. When most people think about a rental property, they are thinking about a single family home, buying a single family home, which is literally just another house, you know, and then renting it to one tenant or maybe a family. And then next you have a duplex, which is literally just two, the root word two, tri, three, a quad, which is 4 people. If you go above 4 units, you then enter into commercial space. So that's when we're talking about, you know, a 6-plex, an 8-plex, 16, and you can go all the way up to a 500 unit, you know, mega complex, you know, that costs $100 million. So, and then there's also more on the commercial side. You know, you could be renting space to a dentist, you know, or a pizza shop, you know, so there's a lot of different options. So each one is really unique and you got to know what you're getting yourself into. So let's keep going down our list. Okay, topic number 2, understanding the basics of cash flow. I will say this really strongly. Do not even consider buying a rental property if you do not have all of your finances written down on a spreadsheet. I have multiple videos on how to check your net worth with different software programs, how to do simple investment budgets, so you can check those out. If you do not have a supreme understanding of your finances, the cash flow in and out based on whatever income sources you have today, don't get into the rental property game because it is going to be a nightmare for you. You have to have a very good understanding of what money is coming in and out, and you need to know what costs are going to be associated with this purchase for the next, you know, 12, 24, 36 months, so that you can plan ahead and be really confident in what you're doing and that this is going to be a cash positive situation for you. So after you have everything on a spreadsheet, start to look at what the new mortgage payment is going to be versus what you could potentially rent the property for. And it's really tough right now because rates are so incredibly high. So if you're gonna have a mortgage payment that's $2,500 and the area rentals are only going for $22, you're gonna be negative $300. And then you're gonna add on, you know, things like the HOA payment and the trash water sewer service and maybe anything else that you're responsible for around the property, which we'll get into. But you quickly see how it could become a negative cash flow situation, and you're gonna try to live on the equity, which is not possible. You can't pay your bills with equity. You need monthly cash flow and it has to be positive. So how do you do that? You do it by playing with the numbers and, you know, figuring out what down payment you need to come in with, and then what the monthly expenses around this property are gonna be, and try to level them out so that you come out on top and that you are adding to your cash flow and creating a positive kind of compounding catalyst event where you can then take that money and then use it to buy more properties in the future. You can't live at a break-even or negative scenario in the property rental game. Also, really important to understand what happens if you were to be laid off, or if one of your income streams, let's say you have multiple income streams, one of them gets interrupted or is terminated. Are you still gonna be able to pay that mortgage? Let's say you have a vacancy and a tenant hasn't been in there because there was a water leak or there was another issue and you can't get a tenant in there. Are you going to be bankrupted by that scenario? If the answer is yes, then you either didn't plan ahead well enough, or your cash flow is too tight and you're not gonna be successful. So you have to have that personal emergency fund, that rainy day fund, as well as a emergency fund for the property, you know, so that you can stay afloat, because you have to plan ahead for vacancies and unexpected issues, and you don't want those things to cause financial ruin for you. The next topic is really important but often overlooked. It's general property maintenance. What do you plan on doing there? You know, if it's a condo and you're paying an HOA, then that's already probably taken care of. You might have to keep the hallway clean. You know, the tenant can probably take care of that. But what if you're in my scenario and you have properties with big yards that, you know, love to grow weeds, and there's always messiness and things like that and things out of place, and you have to trim the trees and you have to water the plants. The recommendation would be to have a landscaper on staff that you might have to pay a couple $100s a month to take care of those things for you. Or are you going to do it yourself, drive over to the property, make sure everything looks good, check for damage, and take care of the weed whacking or the lawn mowing, things like that you need to plan ahead for. So it's either, in that scenario, it's either going to be a time commitment or it's going to be a financial commitment. So you have to figure out what to do with the property maintenance. Topic number 4, general property expenses. Let me be really clear in saying that tenants do not clean things and they do not fix things when they break. I want to be very clear about that. So it's on you, the property owner. So I was just paying a plumber $300 last week because the tenant ripped the bathtub handle off and it got stuck in the on position, gushing water, and we had to get a plumber out there. So I'm not blaming the tenant. I don't think he would have been able to solve that, but it's still something that I have to foot the bill for financially. So you have to be aware of those scenarios. Those things can happen at any time of the day or night, and you are the bank account in those situations. Another really important consideration for owners is playing handyman for the property, or are you gonna hire out all that work or let your property manager do it? There are benefits on both sides. If you are the property handyman yourself, you're gonna save a ton of money. And I've done it for over 4 years now, and I've saved thousands of dollars fixing things myself instead of not hiring out. However, I'm reaching a point now where I don't really wanna play handyman anymore because it's very time consuming. I personally don't wanna interact with the tenants as much, and I'll let the property manager handle that for me. So think about how you want to handle that and what your financial situation is, or if you want to practice your handyman skills or not. It really depends, but there's a cost savings versus a more expensive side of the coin, so it depends on what you want to do. Now, topic number 5, one that I consider to be really, really important. How are you going to manage the property? Are you going to do it yourself, or are you going to hire a property manager right from the start? And there's a few considerations there. My personal recommendation is to do what I did and manage the property yourself for a couple years so that you can get literally your hands dirty in fixing things, in dealing with tenants, in handling pest issues, in collecting rent checks yourself. All of it is an incredible learning experience. But if you don't want to do any of that, that's fine. You can hire a property manager. Obviously, there's a cost associated with that. It could be anywhere as little as 2% of your rent all the way up to 10% of your monthly rent check. You need to factor that into your cash flow like we were talking about earlier. There is an incredible learning experience when you're new to property management. If you want to learn kind of the boots on the ground strategy in doing everything yourself, the handyman work, the landscaping, the rent collecting, all that stuff, you gain a really important perspective that will carry you into, the other properties that you buy in the future. And it'll, help give you perspective on everything that you're doing in the property management game. And I actually have a video that I did a couple months ago on all of the questions that you should be asking if you do go down the route of hiring a property manager. And again, I personally now have a property manager in place that has been really, really life-changing, to be honest. But with that said, I would not change what I did originally in having the experience in the boots on the ground method, doing that stuff myself first. I'm happy that I have a property manager now, but I also learned a lot by myself at the beginning. So let's be clear about that. A good property manager will do everything for you, short of, cleaning the unit yourself, but you can have them hire someone to do that for you. But they should list the property for you. They should take photos, do all the marketing effort. They should collect the rent check. They should vet the tenants. They should do the renewals. They should do evictions as well. So it should be full service. So ask the questions. And again, check out the video that I have on that topic. It is pretty comprehensive so that you know that you are secure in your decision to hire the right property manager. Now, topic number 6. This one is talked about in every single real estate book I have ever read, especially this one, Brandon Turner's real estate property management book. I'd encourage you to pick that one up, but the concept of building a team around you is the same as, to use a real estate pun, it's pouring the foundation for the house around you so that you now have this mold of people that you can leverage, and then all you're doing is you're buying new houses and then you're fitting it into the same mold and on the same foundation. So the things I'm talking about, you have a lender now, you have a realtor, maybe you have a lawyer as well. You have someone to file legal documents if you're doing warranty deeds and quitclaim deeds, things like that. And then you have contractors that you work with that you really like. You have a landscaping team. You have these people that you continue to work with, your property manager that, once you buy your next house, you already have all the pieces and you just use them again. It's very easy. Now, topic number 7, should you form an LLC before you go to buy a rental property so that you can have that asset protected under an LLC? And while I can't give legal advice, I'd say generally in the real estate space, it's recommended. It's also recommended to have a separate business bank account so that you can have that money separated as well from a legal standpoint. There's lots of books like in the Rich Dad Poor Dad series on starting your own corporation. And of course there's different tax benefits as well. So you might want to look into it. I have friends that have different LLCs for every house and property that they own, and that's their decision. And it's obviously your decision from a legal standpoint. But you might want to do some research and looking into it. But it's a very common scenario in the real estate world to have an LLC to protect your properties. Now, this last topic is really important to me. It's something I've dealt with for the last 4 years as a landlord and property owner. It's how all of this, what we've talked about, can impact your mental health. When you're talking about a multi-$100,000 investment and someone else living there, things can go wrong and it can cause you to, start thinking thoughts, about property damage, about the investments, the equity, the cash flow, all the things. The most common stressor in America, I believe, is, financial stress. So the same thing can impact you as you're getting into the rental game, and you got to keep it in check. I've dealt with things from a horrible tenant that didn't pay me for months that caused $2,000 worth of property damage. I had to remodel the entire interior of the home, to things like rat issues. If you check out my other videos, got videos on both those topics. But those things can be extremely stressful, when things are not going to plan. And even if they are going to plan, you still have that thought in the back of your mind, what is my tenant doing in my house? Are they destroying it? What am I gonna, experience here? So there's things to keep in mind, and all of this can impact your mental health and your well-being. So you wanna make sure that you are set up for success, especially financially, with your multiple emergency funds, making sure that you're really tight on your numbers, understanding your finances, what are your income sources, how your cash flow is working out. And then making sure that you do have that team of people in place that are caring for your property, which really helps you, stay easy and can get some sleep at night, knowing that everything is going smoothly. While issues do pop up here and there, everything, is moving in the right trajectory, and that you're gonna be okay. So keep all that in mind. Mental health is really important in the real estate space, with so much going on. So, keep that in check. So that's basically everything I wanted to cover with you guys today. Tell me if there's something, down in the comments below, if there's something that I missed that you really wanted more information on. I'm happy to do a follow-up video and, find more topics to go into in more depth in the real estate and property management and property rental game. So let me know. Thank you guys so much for watching. And if you haven't already, please like the video and subscribe. I would really appreciate it. Thanks so much, and we'll see you later.